Good evening. The Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Board of Trustees are now convened in a regular meeting on Monday, September 9, 2019, in the boardroom of the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Instructional Support Center, located at 10300 Jones Road, Houston, Texas, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees and not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. The meeting is open for all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of this meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Sections 551.071 through 551.084 of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV online on the district website. They will be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. I'd like to also take this time to recognize our community leadership committee members who are in attendance this evening. Please stand or wave. Kelly Ray is here tonight. Danica Smith is also present, and Stacy Anderson. And I believe, is here? Gilbert Sarabia, okay, there he is. All right, good, Gilbert. We have no scouts tonight. We're delighted tonight that our invocation will be done by Paul Capehart, the founding and senior pastor of Harvest Family Church. Paul has traveled extensively throughout the United States as an evangelist, and this year marks his 22nd year of ministry. Paul and his lovely wife have 3 sons who are the joy of their lives. Paul and Brooke planted Harvest Family Church 8 years ago, and although their church buildings and contents were completely destroyed by Harvey in 2017, they have completely rebuilt and are thriving and growing as they reach out to the Cypress community. Harvest Family Church does an awesome job of supporting our district through staff appreciation meals for Lampkin Elementary School and the Cy-Fair Police Department. Pastor Paul, we appreciate your ongoing commitment to our district, and thank you for being here tonight. The JF Junior ROTC cadets will also be presenting the colors tonight, and they are from Cypress Creek High School. They are Cadet Second Lieutenant Lake Coy, Cadet First Lieutenant Tazi Secrease, and on the U.S. flag, Cadet Second Lieutenant Larissa Sarabia, and also Cadet Sergeant Yasmin Soto. Our cadets this evening are under the direction of Master Sergeant Marvin Tasby. I want to ask everyone to please stand. The first thing we'll do is have our invocation and then the colors.
Would you bow with me? Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for this wonderful community. We're so thankful for the leadership that you've placed in this community. So, Lord, we just pray that you would use each and every one of us, take the culmination of all of our experiences, education, background, relationships, and we ask for your wisdom and your guidance, that every child, every student would be empowered and would maximize their lives as global leaders through this awesome community and through our school district. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
And colors.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What are the colors? Ost. O, 3, 4, O, 3, 4. Ost. Ost. Height, face, O, arch, O, 3, 4, O, 3, 4.
You may be seated. Board Member Julie Heineman will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
Our vision statement: learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. Mission statement: maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences. preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
We'll now proceed with the recognitions portion of the agenda. The board will recognize the following campuses who earned all possible distinction designations in the 2019 State Accountability System. Burks Elementary School, Millsap Elementary School, Sampson Elementary School, Arnold Middle School, Cook Middle School, and Smith Middle School. Dr.
Thank you.
Macias.
Dr. Ogletree, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry. It is an honor to be here before you with all of our all of our staff here from the schools we're going to be recognizing today. Distinctions designations are awarded to campuses for achievement in several areas in our state accountability system. The commissioner has shared that for a campus to earn one distinction designation is quite an honor, and that campus should be celebrated, and the community where that campus resides should also be celebrated. This evening, we're gonna talk about the campuses who actually earned all the distinction designations that are available to them. But let's begin first by looking at how a campus earns a distinction designation. Every campus is placed into a comparison group that includes 40 other campuses from across the state, similar to the target campuses. Now, let me share with you that comparison group changes from year to year. Then the campus is evaluated on a number of indicators. In the middle school example, the campus is evaluated on 7 indicators. Please note all the distinction designation indicators are beyond simply reaching the approaches level on the star. So it is the highest level of achievement. The campus receives a score for each indicator. That score must be in the top quartile of the 40 campus comparison group to be considered for a distinction designation. At the elementary and middle school level, at least 50% of the indicators must be in the top quartile, or quartile 1, for the campus to earn a distinction. At high school, 33 of the evaluated indicators must be in quartile 1. So our first campus that we would like to recognize this evening is Burks Elementary. Principal Stacy Everson is here to represent her school. This is Burks' second year in a row to earn all possible distinction designations. And you can see up on the screen all the distinction designations that are available at the elementary level. If the Burks faculty and staff, will you please stand so that we can recognize you and honor you for this great work. Thank you. Next is Millsap Elementary, and Principal Joy Dolphin is here representing her campus. This is Millsap's third time to earn all possible distinction designations. If you are a faculty or staff member of Millsap, please stand so that we can recognize you. Sampson Elementary, represented by Principal Heather Motsney. This is Sampson's 5th consecutive year to earn all possible distinction designations. If you are a faculty or staff member of Sampson, please stand so that we may recognize you. Thank you. At the middle school level, there are 7 distinction designations to be earned. First, let's recognize Arnold Middle School, represented by Principal Jody White. This is Arnold's 4th consecutive year to earn all distinction designations. So if you are a faculty or staff member of Arnold Middle School, please stand so we may recognize you. Our next school is Cook Middle School. And representing Cook is Principal Martin Drayton. Now, in Martin's typical way, he wanted me to make sure to also share that Maggie Wiley, Maggie stand, where's Maggie? That Maggie Wiley also received recognition because she was the principal this past year. Now, this is Cook's second time to earn all distinction designations. So if you are a faculty or staff member of Cook, please stand so that we may recognize you. And finally, Smith Middle School, represented by Principal Becky Cope. This is Smith's first year to earn all distinction designations. If you are a faculty or staff member of Smith Middle School, please stand so that we may recognize you. Congratulations to these schools who have earned all distinction designations.
Congratulations, congratulations. That is outstanding. We'll now have the superintendent's remarks and announcements for honors and achievements earned by staff and students in recent weeks.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree, trustees. And Linda, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Although these 6 campuses earned every distinction possible, how many academic distinctions did we have district-wide?
We earned 203 distinction designations.
Okay. More than 120 Cypress-Fairbanks ISD graduates celebrated earning scholarships valued at $566,000 at the Cy-Fair Educational Foundation 2019 scholarship reception at the Berry Center. The Cy-Fair Educational Foundation, which has awarded more than $9 million in scholarships to more than 2,000 CFISD graduates since its 1970 inception, welcomed families of the 122 recipients to the annual event. The class of 2019 Cy-Fair Educational Foundation scholarships were comprised of 49 Schroeder scholarships for future Lone Star College Cy-Fair students and 73 endowed scholarships. And certainly we appreciate the great partnership that we have with the Cy-Fair Educational Foundation and their continued support of our students. 2 high schools announced Adopt-a-School partnerships in August. Cypress Falls High School entered an Adopt-a-School partnership with HCA Houston Healthcare North Cypress. On August 19th, the union is special to Cypress Falls as it is the first adoption for the 27-year-old campus. A few days later, Bear Creek Baptist Church announced their partnership with Cypress Springs High School. CFISD Adopt-a-School program pairs schools with community and business partners to utilize resources of the community to strengthen and enrich the quality of education for students. And certainly we appreciate all the businesses that support our campuses throughout the district, but we're also extremely thankful for all of our hospitals and our faith-based organizations who continue to support the students and staff of Cy-Fair ISD. Thank you, Dr. Ogletree.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Thank you. We'll now proceed with the public comments portion, and I don't think we have anyone who signed up tonight. And we'll now move to the board comments portion of our. Okay. All right, we'll do that. We're going to take a 5-minute break so that we understand that there's another big happening tonight that people want to get home to. So we'll take a 5-minute break. There is something else going on. Wow. Okay, all right, we'll now reconvene. We did have a citizen to sign up for our comments, and we're going to have him to come now. Mr. English, would you come forward, please, sir? And you have 3 minutes when you begin your comments. The green light will come on when it's 30 seconds left. The yellow light will come on in when the red light comes on. We've gone to 2 minutes? Is that 2 minutes then?
Okay.
And 30 seconds means you have, green light means, yellow light means 30 seconds. And when the red light comes on, just start concluding your remarks.
Gotcha.
All right, thank you. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Good evening to the board, superintendent. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tevin English. I'm with the International Union of Painters and Allies Trade, District Council 88 here local in Houston. We represent Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico members that are a part of the construction industry. I'm here today to bring to the board's attention our desire to build a relationship and a partnership with the school district. Over the past year or so, we've been creating relationships and partnerships with different school districts in the area to introduce our apprenticeship program into the school boards, into the district's curriculum, as well as partner with CTE programs. So right now, we're starting we've been training folks to be a part of construction trades. So that's painters, glazers, drywall, floor finishers, trade show hosts. And we've been pitching this opportunity to the students and to the board members of different districts. And why that's important is because Houston is one of the fastest growing cities in construction, but Texas has the highest death rate in construction. California outnumbers us in terms of projects and actual constructing facilities, but we outnumber them in deaths. One construction worker dies every 3 days here in Texas. And that's a result of contractors not caring about their workers and contractors hiring subcontractors that don't enforce labor standards. And so while we're also trying to create a pipeline for students to come into our apprenticeship program, we're also trying to create the policy and the contracts with the city and as well as different school boards that are building and renovating facilities on bond money. We're also trying to create the policy and the language that guarantees that those workers and those students have a place to work when they are certified and that they're safe and good paying jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, we'll now move to the board comments portion of the agenda. And seeing that we have no board member, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to rush this meeting. Go ahead. Go ahead, Debbie.
So sorry about that, Dr. O. But I just wanted to congratulate all of our school personnel and district personnel on such a great and start to the school year. It seemed to have gone very smoothly. And I want to give a special kudos to our transportation department, to Bill Powell and Kane Smith on how smoothly all of that worked. I know there's always some issues, but they just were worked out, and All of our students have been transported safely to school and from school. And with that, I have to give a special shout out to our school bus drivers. Having participated in the Bus Buddy program once again this year, I'm so happy that the school district implemented this program, because it's for those of us who have served as bus buddy, it's very eye-opening, and you serve a purpose on the bus when you have two students asleep and you need to wake them up to get off at the right bus stop because they're so tired from their first day at school. But it also gives you appreciation for the great job our bus drivers do in transporting our students, and it also makes you aware of theirs is not an easy job, because having a busload of kids who are excited it's the end of the day, and especially that first week of school, and very active, and the bus driver trying to keep them in their seats and keep them safe and make sure that everyone gets off at the right stop. They're to be complimented, and I compliment the Transportation Department for the great job and the training. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Tom?
Ditto.
That is recorded, isn't it? We want to memorialize this. Anyone else? All right. We'll now go to the report section of our agenda. We have no other people signed up. We'll go to our reports. 5B, the administration will provide an oral report on the 2019 STAR 3 through 8 end of course state accountability ratings. Dr. Claiborne.
Dr. Ogletree, I'm gonna begin with the report. Good evening again. Tonight we will present the board and the viewing audience with an overview of the 2019 STAR accountability results. I would like to take a moment to thank our campus leaders, their teachers, their staff, and the curriculum team for their relentless work in supporting all of our students. To give you an example of the type of leadership that we have here in our district, as soon as we released the accountability information to our principals, one of them immediately began calling us, asking questions about her meets and masters, because she was not content with her meets and masters. This principal is at a school that's in the 90s, an A, and actually was here this evening because also earned all distinction designations. So just a little example of the quality and determination and dedication of our campuses. An area that as a district we have been focusing on has been writing. As you know, for the last couple of years, we have decreased in our writing scores. And I'm happy to report that together with the principals and the curriculum team, we developed a writing plan that the principals made sure was implemented, and you will see an increase in writing scores for this past accountability system. So I'd like to now turn it over to Dr. Claiborne, who will continue with the report.
The first set of data we have for you tonight reflects 2019 STAR reading performance for students in grades 3 through 8. You will see data for the following student groups: all Hispanic, African American, white, and economically disadvantaged. Cy-Fair data are represented by the red bar, and the data for the state of Texas are represented by the gray bar. As you can see, Cy-Fair students outperform the state in grades 3 through 8 reading. Math scores in grades 3 through 8 were also higher than the state. Cy-Fair students in grades 5 and 8 were administered the STAR science exam. These students outperformed the state in each of the student groups reflected above. Writing scores in grades 4 and 7 were also higher than the state. In grade 8, our students who took the Social Studies STAR also outperformed students across the state. Once again this year, our 5th and 8th grade students were given multiple opportunities to pass the Reading and Math STAR as part of the Student Success Initiative. The data before you depict performance on the first round of STAR, the yellow bar, and then the combined performance level after the second administration of STAR, the orange bar. Please note the performance from the first administration to the second administration went up by 6 points for 5th grade reading, 6 points for 5th grade math, 5 points for 8th grade reading, and 6 points for 8th grade math. Now we will turn our attention to the results of the end-of-course exams in Cyfair ISD. The end-of-course data will depict results from students who took the exam for the first time in the 18-19 school year. Cyfair data are represented by the blue bar, and the data for the state of Texas are represented by the gray bar. We begin with the English 1 results. The scores before you represent Cyfair students outperforming the state in each of the reference student groups. Cyfair students who took the English 2 exam for the first time also outperformed the state. In Algebra 1, Cyfair students continue to outperform the state. It's important to note that 40% of our 8th grade students took the Algebra 1 exam, and 100% of those students passed the exam. First-time testers in Cyfair outperformed the state in biology. U.S. history data for our first-time testers also reflects performance above the state level. Now we will review data for the MEETS grade level performance standard. Please keep in mind that the percent of students passing at this level will not be as high as those reaching the Approaches grade level standard. All campuses are working on increasing the number of students reaching the MEETS grade level standard by setting CIP targets related to this level and implementing related strategies to raise these percentages. This is a major area of focus for all campuses and the district. The first column on the left-hand side reflects the content area tested. The second column reflects the combined MEETS grade level performance for STAR 3 through 8 and end of course. The third column depicts the same data for the state of Texas. The final column reflects the difference between Cyfair and the state. You will notice the student performance in Cyfair is above the state in each content area. To conclude the STAR data review, we will focus on the master's performance level. As a reminder, the master's grade level standard is the very highest passing standard a student may achieve. Just as with the MEETS grade level standard, the percentage of students passing at this level will not be as high as those reaching the Approaches grade level standard. Again, all campuses are working on increasing the number of students reaching the master standard by setting CIP targets related to this level and implementing related strategies to raise these percentages. This too is a major area of focus for all campuses in the district. This table is formatted similarly to the previous one. The performance of Cyfair students at the master's level is also higher than the state.
Now let's take a quick look at the district rating, the district accountability rating for 2018-19. But let's start with what the rating was in 2017-18, the year before. You may recall that the district earned an 89. And you can see there the different areas for student achievement, school progress, and closing the gap. And then this past year, the district actually earned a 92. You can see the areas of growth there in student achievement, school progress, and closing the gap. Raising this by 3 points is quite commendable for our campuses. Please make no mistake, we all know that we still have work to do, but certainly raising it to 3 points is commendable. Now, this is what we earned This is actually what was assigned as our district rating, an 89. You may recall in the past that we've shared, if we have any campuses who earn a D or an F, then the district is not able to earn the A, the 90 or the above. So we're working on this, but I'm very proud of our campuses for that 92 that they earned.
The data now displayed depicts the district's performance as compared to the 4 other largest districts in Texas. The first column depicts the district's name. The second column, the total number of students enrolled in the district, followed by the percent of economically disadvantaged students. Then you'll see the 2019 District Accountability Rating, followed by the number and percent of campuses at each letter grade. Please note, out of these districts, Cy-Fair was the only district assigned an 89 rating. This table depicts the performance of Cy-Fair versus surrounding districts. Once again, out of these districts, Cy-Fair was the only district assigned an 89 rating. As part of the state accountability system, our campuses are able to earn distinction designations in the following areas: academic achievement in reading, English language arts, math, science, and social studies, top 25% in comparative academic growth, top 25% in comparative closing the gaps, and post-secondary readiness. Each campus is assigned to a unique comparison group of 40 schools from anywhere in the state that closely match the target school. Distinctions are then awarded based on performance that is in the top quartile of the comparison group. Campuses earning one or more of these distinction designations met rigorous criteria to earn the highest level of recognition in the state accountability system. The board and community members may access accountability data by navigating to a campus webpage, clicking on About Us, and then clicking on School Ratings.
Now, just a little bit of what our next steps are as we're supporting and working with our campuses. As I mentioned earlier, we are continuing to implement the district writing plans at the elementary, middle, and high school. Although we made some growth, we still have a ways to go. So we're gonna make sure that those are tweaked and that we're implementing and monitoring them. As Dr. Claiborne said, meets and masters is what comes out of our mouth every time we're around any of our principals, teachers, and staff. We know that it's important that we keep working towards getting our students to those higher levels. We will continue to work with our campuses as well as we continue towards earning at least one distinction designation for all of our campuses. About 75% of our campuses have earned one or more distinction, but we're in the process of asking or helping with some plans for how they're going to earn at least one. And then finally, we have shared with you about our monitored process. That's our intensive support for any of our campuses who are not right at the district. We're not meeting the district standards, not so much the state standards, but the district standards. And for this year, we've added another category to our monitored school process, and those are any campuses who have earned in the 70s for 2 consecutive years. At this time, if you have any questions, we would be happy to answer.
All right, any questions, Julie?
Dr. Claiborne, CIP targets, what does CIP stand for?
Campus Improvement Plan.
Okay, gotcha, thank you. And then 2 more questions. The writing star is going away in 2 years, so how will that affect our plans for writing?
Well, at this time, the plan will be tweaked and continue because, as you said, it's 2 years before it goes away. We've actually already been working on our curriculum for embedding writing into the language arts arena. Everything from making sure that it's that one teacher who's teaching reading and writing, the language arts piece of it, and then we'll continue to provide more training as soon as this phase goes away.
Okay, thank you. And then just maybe it's not a question, it's just a comment. the current state assessment system is set up to compare campuses to other campuses around the state and districts to other districts. Just personally, I find that very distasteful. I really don't care how other districts are doing and other campuses are doing. It's mostly how our schools are doing. So while I am so proud that we are doing better than others in the state, it's really about our students on our campuses that we are focused on. And I think that doesn't come through in this, but when we talked about our board monitoring system and what we're focusing on, our goals, that's where I feel like it's most important that we focus our efforts. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Don?
Hey, Ashley, on the Student Success Initiative that had the orange bars, what's
sir.
the time from the first test to when we say, okay, now we're going through this, till we get to the orange bars?
They have a few weeks, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks.
Seriously?
Yes, it's a very tight,
That's awesome.
intensive time frame for them to receive that remediation and then test again.
Wow, those are huge increases then.
We can also we can focus on smaller groups.
Right. Okay,
It's
thanks.
intensive support that happens during those 2 weeks and with small group instruction.
That's very impressive, thank you.
Anyone? Tom? Bob.
You mentioned that 40% of our students in 8th grade take algebra, and they take the end-of-course exam for algebra, and they had a 100% pass rate. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, sir.
In the past, when we've looked at the data, our 9th graders taking algebra still outperform the state average. With the aggregation that we have, did that still happen? Or did that not happen this time? Are we close?
The state had about 24% of 8th graders taking the exam, and I can guarantee they didn't have 100% passing.
Right, but what I'm talking about is for those 9th graders taking the exam, in the past, our 9th graders reduced significantly, still outperform the state average, which is in fact a mathematical anomaly that typically doesn't happen. Are we still seeing that? Are we still tracking?
For our 9th graders, I did not bring the data specifically for the 9th grade, but we can provide that information to you. The slide that we have today has the 8th and 9th combined.
Right.
Right, but we can provide you with the data, the difference, with just
Thank
the
you.
9th graders. Yes, sir.
And I would say I differ a little from my colleague in that I view the test as still being flawed, but the only way that, for myself, that I can determine the progress we're making is when we compare ourselves taking the flawed test to others. The law of large numbers says you can, in fact, make that mathematical comparison, even if the test itself is flawed. And Commissioner Williams set up the program using the cohorts and awarding distinctions. And that is, in fact, based upon comparison to those as closely as they can are compared to us. So I would support our continuing doing this analysis, because otherwise it's almost like shadow boxing. Very difficult to know how we are in fact doing if I'm correct in that the test is flawed and the test is not set up to properly test and gauge our students on their understanding and mastery of the material. So I certainly encourage management to continue as we have in the past in that regard.
Mr. Jackson, we will sort of continue to provide the information in this manner. But not only is the test flawed, but sometimes the comparison groups are also flawed. While they may be similar in demographics, many times you'll see that you're comparing a similar demographic 1,000 enrollment school, like we have, to a 250 or 500 enrollment school. So there's some flaws in there as well.
Oh, absolutely, and of course, it does not take into account funding on a per-student basis. And it's my understanding, among the 20 largest districts, we remain the least funded on a per-student basis. But yes, when I visit campuses, I always take a look at the cohorts, and there's schools in there that have no business being part of that cohort. Some of them happen to be selective schools, and our schools are non-selective, other than their neighborhood schools. So yes, I'm aware the comparison is not as good as it could be. But that's my question on the math. Are we still where we want to be on that? Thank you.
Bob?
Well, of course, you know my soapbox is on the reading, which, again, re-irritates me. So just the fact that they are testing our kids 2 to 3 levels above the grades that they're actually in is just ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. Okay, but I'll get to that in a minute. Whenever we're showing, like what we're showing right now, which is 2019 scores, it's very difficult for us to compare to 2018 and 2017 because the STAR test has not remained the same, but has supposedly become more rigorous. Isn't that correct?
The cut points for the passing scores have not changed from last year or from 18 to 19. At one point, they were becoming more rigorous, the number you needed in order to pass, but that has leveled out.
So if we compare ourselves to the 2018 scores, do we feel like that we have made the advancement that we were hoping to?
Yes, sir. We are seeing that we are making progress. Yes, sir.
I would like to see that comparison
Okay.
whenever we get a chance.
Okay.
And again, personally, I have a connection with someone who got his reading scores back and said that he was only approaching his reading scores. And last year when he tested, he was almost perfect on his reading scores. But then when you looked at his Lexile scores, he was reading on a 9th grade level. And it's very difficult for me to understand how that can even be considered, that it is anywhere near being something that we can look at and call something we can rely on. So I find this very sad. I'm very glad that we supposedly have instructed the Commissioner of Education to establish a committee. Again, Linda, sorry, but you've been suggested to be on it. So
Yes, sir.
I just can't believe that we have allowed, and I can't believe the legislature have allowed this test to become something that it is not. And again, I'm very curious as to whenever we're taking that second test, trying to bring them up, how many of those kids did not really have to take it if they were being tested on their actual level? I find that's a question. I'm not asking for an answer. I'm just saying. And I hope that the general public listens to this, and I think it takes people out there to go back to our legislators and to the State Board of Education and tell them they're not satisfied with this STAR test, and we need to take a look at it. Okay, soapbox over.
Mr. Covey, last year, with the previous scores, Dr. Claiborne's office actually pulled a report for me to show the number of kids impacted by this, and it was in the thousands. It was in the thousands of kids that had Lexile levels above their current grade level, but were not being rated above approaches or didn't even meet approaches.
All right, Debbie.
Bob, to add to your comment, I find it concerning that while I like the progress I see in that 2 weeks difference that we were talking about, Don, it concerns me that we're taking away students from regular instruction time to spend the time so they can. Absolutely.
All right. Yes.
A comment that I left out. These scores are absolutely magnificent. Mark, you and your senior management team, but principally the campus leadership and the staff at the campuses. Once again, this district performs at the highest levels. You take a look at the districts that look like us, and the performance is simply superb. As the commissioner has noted, Cy-Fair is doing something that other districts simply are not doing. And so I wanted to make certain that that the board understands that y'all are doing something very special here. And even though we ask a number of detailed questions, sometimes we forget to say, hey, thanks, job well done.
Thank you. On behalf of our campuses, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And this board, for a long time, has always looked at closing the achievement gap as being priority number one. And in fact, this district is showing that the achievement gap is in fact being closed.
And
Thank you,
we
John.
we do notice this, and we're proud of our district, so. Thank you all. At this time, we're going to jump forward to an agenda item 8A, in non-consensus. The board will consider approving a resolution to initiate the process under Education Code Chapter 12A to become a district of innovation. We had a presentation on this past Thursday. Can I have a motion? Okay. I have 8A, and then 6A is the hearing. All right, that's on page 131. Can I have a motion?
Dr. Ogletree, I move that the board approve a resolution to initiate the process under Education Code Chapter 12A to become a district of innovation.
Second.
All right, we have a second on the motion. Is there any further discussion on this matter?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Something that we talked about on Thursday, and I just wanted to re-verify. There are 3 major teacher groups within our district. It is my understanding that each of these groups will have a seat at the table. Is that correct or not?
We will be inviting the teacher groups to be a part of the committee.
And just to add to that, all the board is voting on, just as a reminder, is for us to initiate this
Right.
process. The actual plan will come back to you for final approval if you choose to go forward.
Very good. Thank you.
All right. You ready to vote? All those in favor, please raise your right hands. All right, it's unanimous. Now we'll move on to the public hearing portion of the agenda. 6A, the board will hold a public hearing to consider whether the district should develop a local innovation plan for the designation of the district as a district of innovation. Dr. Macias.
Dr. Ogletree, we believe that no one has signed up to make a comment during the public hearing.
Okay. All right. We will now proceed with the consensus action items portion of the agenda. 7A, the board will consider approving the tax refunds of $500 or greater for Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. 7B, the board will consider approving the minutes of the August 8th, 2019 Committee of the Whole meeting. 7C, the board will consider approving the minutes of the August 12th, 2019 meeting, regular board meeting. The following non-consensus action items were moved to the consensus agenda during our board work session this past Thursday. 8E, the board will consider approving the 2019 certified tax rolls and the estimated collection rate for 2019 to be 100% and the 2018 excess debt collections rate to be 0. 8F, the board will consider authorizing the superintendent or his designee to negotiate and execute one or more extensions of the existing contracts for procurement of electricity up to the minimum term allowed per the terms and conditions of request for proposal number 16-05-4941 RFP. 8G, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and/or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item, and that is transportation tractor trucks. 8A, the board will consider approving on first reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. BBE local board members authority revised. BDD local board internal organization attorney, that's an add. BJCD local superintendent evaluation revised. CI local school properties disposal, that's a revised. CRB local insurance and annuities management liability insurance, delete. 8I, the board will consider approving on second reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. CO local food and nutrition management revised. COA local food and nutrition management procurement. This is an add. COB local food and nutrition management free and reduced price meals. This is an add. DCB local employment practices term contracts. DH local employee standards of conduct. DIA local employee welfare freedom from discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. Item 8J, the board will consider approving on dual reading additions, revisions, or deletions to district policies. BED local board meetings, public participation. This is a revised. 8K, the board will consider authorizing the superintendent to finalize and execute the agreement between Stephen F. Austin State University for student teachers enrolled in the field experience, internship, practicum, and clinical teaching program at SFA. If any board member wishes to remove one or more of these items for further discussion, please do so at this time. If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the consensus items as recommended or amended.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as recommended and or amended.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your right hands. Thank you. It's unanimous. We'll now go to the action items, non-consensus portion of our agenda. 8B, the board will consider appointing an innovation plan committee. Oh, that's a different one. That's different. Yeah, this is a committee. To develop a local innovation plan or decline to pursue designation as a district of innovation.
Mr. President, I move that the board appoint an innovation plan committee with membership to be determined by the administration to develop a local innovation plan or decline to pursue a designation as a district of innovation.
I second.
All right, second. Any discussion on that? I will say is for discussion that Linda initially said two board members, but we have three who have indicated they want to be a part of that, so we'll have three board members on a part of that committee. All right, all those in favor? It's unanimous. 8C, the board will consider adopting an order authorizing the issuance of Cypress-Fairbanks School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bond Series 2019A, levying a tax and providing for the security of payment thereof, providing for the award of the sale thereof in accordance with specified parameters and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Mr. President, I move that the board adopt an order authorizing the issuance of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District Unlimited Tax School Building Bonds, Series 2019A, levying a tax and providing for the security of payment thereof, providing for the award of the sale thereof, in accordance with specified parameters and enacting other provisions relating thereto.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, would you please raise your right hand? All right, thank you. Item 8L, the board will consider giving notice to Stephanie Ferrata that her term contract has been terminated.
Mr. President, I move that the board authorize the board president to notify Stephanie Ferrata that her term contract has been terminated and her employment with the district has ended.
Second.
I second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hands. Item 8M, the board will consider giving notice to Rakesh Jacob that his probationary contract has been terminated.
Mr. President, I move that the board authorize the board president to notify Rakesh Jacob that his probationary contract has been terminated and his employment with the district has ended.
I second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please raise your right hands. It's unanimous. 8N, the board will consider giving notice to Monique Garibaldi that her continuing contract has been terminated.
Mr. President, I move that the board authorize the board president to notify Monique Garibaldi that her continuing contract has been terminated and her employment with the district has ended.
I second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hands. Thank you. It's unanimous. We're now at the point of the superintendent's briefing.
Thank. Did we miss one?
8D? Where is 8D? Oh, yeah, we've got to do that. I was wondering why Marnie was anxious over there. You know, when the attorney looks at you. Okay. 8D, the board will consider the 2019 tax rate resolution to support the 2019-2020 maintenance and operations and debt service budgets by setting the 2019 M&O and interest and sinking tax rates.
Mr. President, I move that the board adopt the 2019 tax rate resolution to support the 2019-20 and 20 maintenance and operations and debt service budgets by setting the 2019 M&O and interest and sinking tax rates at respectively 97 cents and 40 cents for a total tax rate of $1.37.
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
Mr. President, Karen, did you have an opportunity to pull the numbers?
Yes, sir. Just to re-go over the question that you had asked, you had also asked how much we lose because of the optional homestead exemption and our optional exemptions, and it is almost $79 million. And then in addition to that, we have a Freeport exemption and a foreign trade zone. And so if you add those two in, combined with the 79 million, it's $115 million.
So the two corporate ones by themselves?
It is
how much?
36.3 million.
36 billion. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we would like our audience to know that this tax rate is 7 cents lower than the previous tax rate.
Karen, just
sir.
real quickly, and just, I think we need clarification. I had a number of calls over the past couple of days. And so this compressed tax rate that the legislature had put us on, that basically will reduce our amount of money that we can, the taxes that we can raise. and that reduces it by X amount of money, but we are what they call hold harmless in that situation. Can you kind of explain, am I saying that wrong?
Let me repeat what I think you're asking.
Okay, yeah.
First of all, our tax rate was compressed from $1 down to 97 cents.
Right.
And so the state is holding us harmless on the amount that we would be losing because our tax revenues are less. Because when we go down to $1.37 from $1.44, our tax revenues go down. So they are holding us harmless by giving us state aid. It's really not called hold harmless, but they're giving us state aid to make up the difference of that compressed tax rate.
And basically, this legislature can only do it for 2 years until they meet again, and if they have to do something different, that will change once again. Isn't that correct?
They have HB 3 included both state compression and local compression.
Mm-hmm.
So as of this time, it would continue unless they change it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Karen, following up on Bob's question, certainly the compression rates stay there, but not necessarily the ability of the state to continue enhanced aid to school districts, because that's only good for 2 years. So the rate is good until changed, but the amount of money from the state, there's not a guarantee that in 2 years that they will continue with the unspoken promise. Is that correct?
You are correct. Districts have been concerned that, they've actually, if the tax rate keeps compressing, they can't afford it. So that's been a concern of school districts.
Thank you for the clarification.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your right hands. All right, is unanimous. And we'll now go to the superintendent's briefing.
Thank you, Dr. Ogletree. We had nearly 50 CFISD business partners attend the Business Partner Expo at the CFISD Annual Leadership Conference on August 7th and new staff orientation on August 9th at the Berry Center. The Business Partner Expo allowed business and community leaders to share information about their companies and organizations while showing support for education. Information on business partner opportunities, advertising, and sponsorship can be found on our website. CFISD classes begin August 26th with more than 117,000 students filling the hallways and classrooms of 91 campuses. Along with the newly renovated Brodigan Center, several other campuses opened their doors to students following a variety of completed renovation projects to update the schools and improve learning environments. Safety and security measures put in place as part of the CFISD 2018-2019 action plan continued, while upgrades funded by the 2014 bond program continue to roll out. Nearly 400 community volunteers assisted in the 13th annual CFISD Bus Buddies program. Bus Buddies rode CFISD buses from 2:45 p.m. to 5 p.m. for the first 2 days of school to ensure young students were safely transported to their proper drop-off points and locations. Families, caregivers, charities, and research groups across the United States observe September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Over 15,000 children under the age of 21 are diagnosed with cancer every year. Approximately 1/4 of them will not survive the disease. The objective of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is to put a spotlight on the types of cancer that largely affect children, survivorship issues, and most importantly, to help raise funds for research and family support. Please help us bring awareness of childhood cancer to the community by wearing gold during the month of September. The Cyfair Educational Foundation will host the 22nd Annual Salute to the Stars Gala on October 17th at the Berry Center. The Black Tie celebratory event will honor 91 CFISD Teachers of the Year from the 2018-19 school year, one from each campus. Thank you.
Wow. All right. There's nothing further on our agenda, so we are now adjourned. Thank you for attending our meeting.